Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to work on a black canvas, something different. So we're going to go from dark to light, a really dynamic painting. This one will be a sunset scene, maybe September, October, a lot of yellows, a lot of gold. So on behalf of our friend Bob Ross, let's get started on episode 3 of Relaxation Oil Painting. Okay, let's start. We have a black canvas. It's covered with black gesso. So these are really dynamic canvases, the way that we can make the color pop just by adding white and other colors. I've covered it with liquid clear because this is a wet on wet technique and it requires mixing on the canvas, unlike some other oil styles. So let's start and let's see if we can make kind of a sunset. I'm loading the brush here with some titanium white, just getting some in the bristles here. Have to decide where our horizon line is going to be and where the sunset will begin, so I'm going to have it kind of low in the middle, making crisscross strokes. And then I'm continuing up. And you can see that this is picking up the alizarin crimson and the phthalo blue that I added earlier onto the canvas. Just by adding this white, you can start to see how pulling in color. Of course, it gets darker toward the sky, toward the high part. I don't want too much color there. Adding a little bit more white will brighten an area. May be hard with this black canvas with the light to be able to see what I'm doing reflecting off, but I'll make sure I show it at the end just so you can see how I'm making this. So that fast you already have a quick sky. Now I'm going to take a really little bit of yellow here to add to make this sunrise pop. So this will go down near the horizon. So just by adding a little yellow here, now I don't want the yellow to hit the blue or we're going to have a green sky, so I'm careful not to hit that blue and go back. A little bit of Indian yellow here to change the tone a bit, make it a bit more gold. And I'm going to take another 2.5 inch brush. I'm going to add a little bit more white to that center. I want that to pop more, because again, that's where the sun is setting. So just by adding a little white, I can brighten up this area. I don't want that too dark yet. Then we'll just smooth this out. So you can see how we have the horizon line much lighter here, and this will be woods of some sort. Take a second to clean a brush here. To clean the brush, I'm just using paint thinner in a bucket with a screen at the bottom. The screen is about 1 inch off the bottom. And that screen allows the sediment to settle so that it doesn't get back in the brush. After you've done about 2 paintings, you should change the paint thinner in the buckets. Don't leave it too long or it just makes your brushes all muddy. I have a little bit of there's a hair on the brush, the canvas, so I'll get rid of that. Don't want that on there. So what I love about this technique is you can just move the paint around and change things if you don't like them. Now I'm going to add a couple of dark clouds in here. Some stringer clouds that go across the sky. You could leave the sky like that and it looks nice, but I'm going to make some dark clouds. So I'm going to take some alizarin and crimson mostly, just a touch of blue. Make it almost a purple haze here, much more crimson than blue. It's a strong color, the blue. And I'm just going to work in a couple of dark clouds here that string across the sky. Maybe this is kind of an October sky where it's starting to get a little cold out, a little chill in the air after the summer. Just by making these crisscross strokes, the clouds travel nicely. And make sure you have a couple come off from the side, because you want to make sure that you understand that it's good to have half clouds, half trees coming off from the side. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So by having these clouds come in, it looks a bit more dramatic. And then we can carry a couple of these whispers across here. Farther away, the smaller the clouds. So if these are far, I don't want these to be too big. These are trailing off to the side. Maybe a little cloud popping in there. Gives the illusion of far away clouds. Isn't that neat? And then I'm just going to take a little bit more of the yellow, bright yellow here, to make these pop a bit. Obviously the highlight will be at the bottom because that's where the sun is going. Maybe a little bit up here too. Last light of the day. Each day is so beautiful. I love it. I'm always amazed when I see people, maybe you'll agree, that whether they're on social media or anywhere else, when they kind of wish that the day was gone. You ever have a friend like that and I don't even know if they're conscious of it, but they're like, oh, I hate this day, I wish it would go away. Never wish time to go away. Never wish time to go away. One day we're going to die and we will wish that we had that day back. So do not ever, ever wish time to go away. Whether it's good or bad, doesn't matter. It's still a day. And I hope we're appreciative of each one we have, with health in it, just to be able to sit here and create. Now you could spend hours on this sky. I'm just taking my time here. We're in no rush. Adding these streamers in. And it just makes a nice dramatic sky. Washing this fan brush. Now I'm going to soften the sky. You don't want to kill them all, but I want to make sure that this blends a little bit. Just taking the 2.5 inch brush and very gently going over it, softening the lines a bit. And that quick you have a nice sky. So there we have it, a nice little sunset sky to start the painting. Next, I want to make a tree line to kind of highlight that and put some silhouettes in. So I'm going to use, let's use a large fan brush. This is about 1.5 inch fan brush here. It's quite large. This is good for trees. I'm going to load it up with this dark alizarin crimson and blue I have here. I'm looking for a real dark kind of purplish crimson, a little bit of brown even. Just want real dark, dark, dark sky, more crimson. And then we can make some trees here. So decide the lay of the land, so the valley or the hills are dipping, or the forest. So just by putting some lines here, I can decide where the trees are. And you can see that the trees are picking up the lightness from the sun. Don't fight that. Allow that to happen. Because that's where the light would be coming from. So now we're getting to see the lay of the land here, how that these trees come down. These hills are higher in the corner. Don't forget about perspective. Toward the edge of the canvas, things will get larger and wider, and thinner toward the middle where the horizon line is. I'm going to add just a touch of Indian yellow here to brighten this. That's good. I want that to pop a bit more. So you can see the lines much better now. It looks like 1,000 different trees here on the line. That's kind of nice. You could leave it like that. There are paintings, and I've seen people do it, where they just leave the bottom black if you want a bit more of an impressionistic view. To me, that might be a bit boring. So I'm certainly not going to stop here, because I really love these trees. So I'm going to keep going here and add add in these textures of trees. Now, to make the illusion of many different tree trunks, take another fan brush. This is a much smaller fan brush, so it's about 3/4 of an inch across. I'm just going to take some titanium white, maybe just a touch of yellow. I want this kind of a light gold color. Just a little bit on the brush, don't want much. And then if I just lift, it gives the illusion of thousands of trees. Brighter toward the center because that's where the sun might be popping through. And if it's too light, then you just go over it a few more times and dull it down. Darker toward the edge. It's just a really fast way of making millions of trees. Then we can go back with our dark color and just kind of break up the top line there. I don't want that all to be the same. Somewhere in here it breaks, some darkness. Because some of these trees would be poking through here. So that gives the illusion of a forest. Pretty cool. I love it. This is so relaxing to do. I encourage everyone out there to do this. Just, you know, it's not a cheap investment, but once you get the paints, they'll last you quite a while. Just to try this method and see what happens. See if you like it. Okay, so again, I could leave the painting there. Let's continue. Now I'm going to start to add some color, so let's get some green going, make some hills, and perhaps we'll have a stream down here. I'm going to leave this brush right there, dirty still. Let's get a 2.5 inch brush, and I'm just going to get some Indian yellow, touch of sap green, bright yellow. Again, I'm just trying to make kind of a gold color. Loading up the 2.5 inch brush. Don't know where this will go, we will see. So let's decide on the lay of the land. Hills coming down. So let's bring this here. Just touching the canvas lightly. This is a great way to make Nice fields of grass. Change the color a little bit. And toward the end, you barely want to touch, because again, that is darker because the sun really isn't shining too much up here. Very little bit, but not too much. And I'm just starting to decide where the land is going. Gonna add a little bright red to this to make it more dark. Change up the colors. Aren't these black canvases so easy? Just by touching the right color at the right time, beautiful things will happen. And obviously the water is going to go down low, so the water will go back there. So again, just by touching, it's like fields of flowers or something. Put a little bit of red in here, make this pop. Don't know if it can pick up on the camera, I hope so. So now we have kind of nice fields coming in. Now let's create a river. So how do we do that? Well, I will show you. Let's get a dry 2.5 inch brush. I'm going to take some of the yellow and watch this. I'm just going to pull this down. This is the bright part. So from here, just by pulling down, we will have reflections of water. I want this a bit brighter here. We don't know if this is a river or a pond, but obviously it's not moving too much. And then again, leave the ends dark. I don't want the ends to be ruined. And then I just go across here. Keep the line straight. And that easy, you can see reflections of the sun in the water. Isn't that amazing? So just that easy, we put a nice river in. Now let's get some dark so that we can add. I'm going to actually use the, let's put some land in. I'm going to use the knife. Some white, some brown. Get kind of a land color here. I'm just going to cut in some stones and some water lines just to clean up that edge. Knife is nice for this. It makes nice cool lines. And again, toward the end, we get wider as we go out. So from here, I'm going to cut this over. Do you see what I'm doing? Bringing this around. Take some dark. Really sets off that water line. Maybe some stones down here. We don't know what's happening. There we go. Just by putting this brown on, we can make these stones happening. Thousands of little rocks where little creatures live. Now at the bottom of this hill, I'm just going to take this fan brush and add a little bit of dark here, because again, the sun is behind the trees, so some of this should be dulled down. So by adding this darkness, it really makes the light stand out. There, that's better. That's what I'm looking for. And then we can take a liner brush. A liner brush looks like this. It looks almost like a pencil or a pen. Very thin. Probably made of horsehair. And I'm just going to take some paint thinner in the white. Paint thinner will thin the paint and make it more like ink, which is what I'm looking for. There, I want to get some white on here. Nice and thin. I'm just going to add a little illusion of waterline here. Just adding a little bit of white. There. Makes it look like there's a little bit of action. And you see, by me taking this dark line across, it makes the water look like there's a little bit of movement. Maybe there's a couple of fish, you know, making some noises here. So use a little bit of dark in the light and light in the dark, just creating a little bit of highlight. This is going to get covered up, most of this, but just adding a little. You could spend hours doing this detail. I don't have the time. I'm just playing. So we have a little bit of water there. Let's add some stuff over on the sides. Let's put some darkness over here. For that, I'm going to use the 2.5-inch brush. I need a lot of dark color, so let's take alizarin crimson, some blue, some brown. I really need this dark. So let's add, I actually want to add a tree or two up high. So just by putting this in here, adding a tree. Now it's hard to see this, I realize, on the camera. Let's box in this here. So now we're putting the edges in. Some scrub bushes here. Again, much more crimson than anything else. It's a really nice color. Again, I don't know how well you can see this on the camera, but that kind of frames in the foreground. Now I can take my fan brush with the yellow on it, go in here and make kind of a some tree trunks that are here. Give them something to sit on. This will be covered up with some highlight, but I'm just showing you. Maybe there are some trees growing here. A little bit of a highlight on one or two. Adding these in. So again, the darkness to the light makes it look like the tree trunks are in there. Now I want to keep this dark brush. Let's go into a highlight brush. I do want to bring a little bit of gold highlight. So I'm going to go into the Indian yellow, a little red. Loading the brush up heavily. I just want to highlight just a little bit on the top of a few of these. Don't want all the same color. That Indian yellow really sparkles nicely. I love it. And it gives the illusion of thousands of branches, thousands of them. Let's add a little more red here. There we are. Now maybe there's a little path that comes through here. Comes right through here. Maybe it comes out of the woods. Comes down here. This is where the deer go. So that kind of draws your eye in, although we don't know where that goes. Take the dark here and push the path back. Makes it sit in the painting better. Let's put just a touch of highlight on the path. Where did my knife go? Always losing stuff. Let's use a liner brush. I'm going to clean it. I want to add some dark trees in here. So I'm just going to take some paint thinner in the crimson and the brown. Again, I want like a dark ink. Let's add just a couple of trees here. Yeah, you don't want all the trees to be beautiful and just full of leaves. You want some to be dead, which is nature. You want to add some darkness here. Here's one that goes over the path. So I'm just adding a couple of details in, which are nice for the eye. Maybe some cat o' nine tails or whatever would be growing by this little lake. Most of them are very dark. You can't see it, but if you're up close you can. Maybe there's a little grass growing in the middle of the path. Let's No one's been here to mow. Yeah, that looks nice. Breaks up the perfection of the path. Nice. Just carrying some of these limbs over, which pushes the forest back much farther. There's a couple way up here. Choom. Yeah, that makes it much more dark. So there's a lot of detail there. So this is a very simple canvas. Let's put a little highlight here. Let's take some of that gold and yellow. Just going to touch here. I want this area to pop a bit more. Maybe these are flowers. Yeah, that's nice. The center should really be brighter. See how that adds a bit more detail? Pretty easy. That's an easy painting. There's nothing hard about that. Anyone can do it in less than an hour. We've created something out of nothing. Has some interesting colors on it. Yeah, this reminds me of like a September, October, about 8 o'clock at night, sun's about to go down. Out taking a walk before we head to bed, just seeing what's happening. Here's some rustling in the forest. It's a couple of deer playing. Squirrels getting ready for winter, fattening up, eating nuts. Couple of birds crowing around. But this type of painting, anyone can do. There's nothing hard about it. It's just some basic principles of perspective, understanding light to dark, where the light source is. Understanding the different hues of colors, what works, what doesn't. Knowing the color chart, what will work, what won't. What will create the wrong color if you mix it with another. Then you have to have the materials, so you have to spend some money. Canvases can be anywhere from 15 to 20 bucks a piece if you get a good quality one like this. You can buy a Bob Ross kit, which has everything in it. There's a basic kit, and there's a master's kit, which just has more stuff in it. And it will come with the tubes of paint that you need, the basic colors. You'll need what's called liquid white, or liquid clear in this case. The liquid white is what allows the paint to move on the canvas. And again, that might come with the paint sets. You'll need brushes. But again, if you want to start a hobby, tell your family, tell your friends. for Christmas and your birthday and whatever. Just tell them you're interested in starting a new hobby. You want to try it, and hopefully, they'll buy you some stuff, support you. Just make great gifts. And then when you can paint, you can give the paintings away as gifts. So when you think about how much you can spend at the holidays, which obviously the holidays aren't about, but if you spend a couple $100 on junk from the store, or gift cards, or cash, which is, all impersonal, to be able to paint someone a painting and think of them as your painting and just give it to them as a gift, they love it. They'll cherish it because it came from your hands and your heart and your mind. It wasn't something you picked up at the last second of the Walmart walkthrough. You created this for them. And they'll always look at that on the wall and think of you and how you they'll probably think you spent a day doing this, and although you only spent an hour or half an hour or 2 hours, whatever. It's certainly better than watching television. Much more productive. And the more production you have in the day, the better you sleep at night, because you're tired. Your mind has taken in so much information, all this color and art and thought and all kinds of stuff, so you'll sleep better at night. And these aren't great paintings, they're just simple. But again, it's fun to do. Each one is completely unique. You can never copy the same one twice. They make good gifts for people, or just to hang on your wall to brighten up a dull bedroom or something. So there you have it. We have a kind of a sunset, some dark foresty trees there, kind of a purplish bluish sky, all using alizarin crimson underneath. We have a golden pond here, surrounded by some birch trees or something, some scrub brush, a little path where people might walk, or animals. And it's just a simple painting done in about an hour, nothing major. Matter of fact, that was only about 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes. So there you go. This is the painting for today, episode 3. I hope you have relaxed. I hope you've had a good time. I've enjoyed doing this, and I really thank you for watching very, very much. I enjoyed your company. And we'll see you on episode 4 of Relaxation Oil Painting.